Guys, most of you don't even notice it, but women are observing everything. Not just your words, but how you move, where your eyes linger, the tension in your shoulders, and even those tiny little gestures you make without realizing it. And here's the part that might surprise you. Some of those subtle habits aren't just seen, they're magnetic. I'm talking about those little unconscious movements that skip past logic and reach straight into a woman's emotions. These are the small gestures that make her lean closer, feel that invisible spark, and ask herself, what is it about this man? Now, most men spend their whole lives trying to stand out with loud gestures, money, looks, expensive clothes, or flashy charm. But the truth is, what really makes a man unforgettable isn't what he says or wears. It's the quiet confidence, the calm sense of presence that says, I belong here. That's what truly leaves a mark. So today I'm revealing 9 subtle overlooked body gestures that drive women absolutely wild, often without you even knowing you're doing them. And once you understand these, you'll never walk into a room, talk to a woman, or hold eye contact the same way again. So stay with me because this might just change the way you carry yourself forever. Number 9, the slow head tilt, sometimes called the presence anchor. You might never think much about it, but that simple, slow head tilt while listening or maintaining eye contact triggers something primal deep inside the female mind. Doesn't just show curiosity, it signals emotional openness, trust, and grounded confidence. When a man tilts his head slightly, just enough to show he's genuinely listening, not just hearing words, it sends a quiet message. I see you. I'm safe. You have my full attention. Here's why it works. That head tilt mimics a behavior deeply rooted in our emotional memory. The same gesture babies use to express curiosity and seek safety. It activates what neuroscientists call the caregiver response, a subconscious emotional pattern that makes us instinctively feel more at ease and trusting. But there's another layer. That slow tilt also feels like you're studying her, not judging or zoning out, but really noticing something deeper, as if she's worth understanding. In body language, this is known as a rapport gesture. It softens our defenses and quietly opens the door to intimacy. And that's powerful because in a world where people mostly listen just to reply, a man who listens to understand stands out. He makes her feel truly seen. He creates a quiet bubble of connection, and she remembers that moment long after it's over. So, next time she's speaking, don't just nod automatically. Let your body lean gently into the moment. Let the tilt happen naturally. Let her feel that your mind isn't wandering elsewhere because real presence is rare and it's incredibly attractive. Number 8, the single eyebrow raise, also known as the micro challenge. This one is pure magic. That brief, subtle lift of one eyebrow, especially after she says something daring or playful, sends a clear signal. Oh, really? You're going there? Without saying a word, you've created playful tension. It's half challenge, half flirtation, and all confidence. Body language specialists call it a micro challenge, a quick flash of intrigue mixed with amusement. It doesn't feel judgmental. It feels fun, like you're saying, I'm not so easily impressed. And that, my friend, is pure attraction fuel for a high value woman. Why? Because it hints at mystery, at emotional depth, at a man who has his own world and doesn't hand over access to it right away. Think about it. Most guys nod too often, agree too quickly, and try too hard to please. But the one who raises that brow as if to say, interesting, makes her want to earn his attention. It's what Robert Greene describes as strategic tension in the art of seduction. You're not just going along with her, you're engaging her mind. And yes, when done right, it works beautifully. But be careful. Do it too often or at the wrong moment, and you'll look like a cartoon villain or someone with a nervous twitch. Use it sparingly. Combine it with a slow smile or a short pause, and you'll master one of the oldest forms of silent flirtation using only your eyes and a tiny flick of expression. Next is number 7, the calm lean, also known as the intimacy gateway. Let's talk about something incredibly simple, yet surprisingly powerful, the slow, calm lean. This isn't about jumping forward or getting into her space like an over-exited puppy. No, this is about quiet control, about creating a space where the rest of the world fades away and it feels like only you two exist. When you lean in slowly, not too soon, not too close, but at just the right time, you send one of the most primal subconscious signals of emotional connection. And believe me, women feel it deeply. From a neuroscience view, this movement triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical released during deep talks, moments of trust, or physical closeness. Here's the key detail. That oxytocin release only happens when the lean feels natural, unforced, like your body is drawn in by genuine interest. If you rush it, you activate her fight or flight instinct. Do it right, though, and your body language says, I'm not here to invade. I'm here to connect. Experts call this the difference between magnetic presence and social pressure. There's a sweet spot, too. Lean in just 2 inches closer than usual, but only after she's already engaged in conversation. When you get that timing right, something special happens. You create a private bubble, like an invisible boundary forms around you, both, even in a crowded room. Suddenly, she feels like the world disappeared for a moment, and she'll remember that. But I've seen many men ruin this moment. They lean in too fast, too far, or before any real connection exists. What happens? She instinctively pulls back. The tension breaks and the mystery disappears. You go from intriguing to awkward in seconds. So remember, lean with presence, not pressure. Let the energy of the moment lead you, and her reaction will tell you everything you need to know. Number 6, the jaw or chin touch, sometimes called the silent thinker signal. Have you ever caught yourself touching your jaw or stroking your chin during a deep talk? Especially when you're really thinking about something. Here's the secret. Women notice and they love it. There's something powerfully attractive about a man who appears thoughtful, not fidgeting, but reflecting. That subtle masculine gesture says, I'm listening, I'm confident, and I'm grounded in my thoughts. And here's where it gets interesting. From an evolutionary psychology point of view, the jawline is one of the strongest visual markers of testosterone. So when you run your fingers along your jaw, even unconsciously, you draw attention to a feature women are biologically wired to find appealing. It's like subconscious signaling. You're not showing off, you're just being present. But there's more. When you touch your face thoughtfully while keeping eye contact, it gives the sense that she's witnessing your inner thoughts unfold. It's like she's seeing you think in real time. In Atomic Attraction, Christopher Canwell explains that men who show gestures like this appear more grounded, masculine, and self assured. And that's powerful. A man who pauses before he speaks, who's comfortable with silence, who doesn't rush to fill every gap, that man radiates quiet confidence. It stirs something ancient in women. It's like watching someone piece together a mystery and she wants to be part of the answer. It becomes intellectual foreplay. So, the next time you find your hand resting near your jaw while you're in conversation, don't quickly pull it away. Let it stay for a moment. Let her see you thinking. Because real mystery isn't always loud. It lives in those tiny pauses between thoughts. Number 5, the pause before speaking, also called the alphabet. This one's so underrated, it's almost criminal. Most guys can't handle silence. They rush to fill it as if quiet means weakness. But here's the truth. A man who pauses before answering gives off an unmistakable power. That short beat says composure. It says you're not chasing approval or rushing to prove yourself. You're calm, deliberate, and in control. And research backs this up. A UCLA study found that people who pause before speaking are seen as more intelligent, more thoughtful, and more trustworthy. But that's just the surface. What's really happening is a subtle psychological game. You're breaking the rhythm others expect. You're holding space, making people lean in, waiting for what you'll say next. That tiny silence builds something called anticipation tension, a quiet magnetic pull that commands attention without a single word. We start to lean in, already curious about what you're going to say next, feeling the weight of your words before they even come out. It's the same psychological trick that casinos use with slot machines. That tiny pause before the result shows up actually makes the reward even more addictive. Now imagine combining that small pause with a simple hand movement like slightly opening your palms or gently pressing your fingertips together. That mix is pure alpha communication. It sends out a signal of calm control. It tells everyone around you, I'm not here to react. I'm here to reply with purpose. That's the kind of energy that can quiet a room before you even speak. And it's the kind that leaves a woman thinking about you long after you've gone. There's another gesture often called the silent power move. Picture this: you're in a conversation making a point, and while your tone is steady and confident, your fingertips come together softly, forming a shape like a small steeple. That's not by chance, that's skilled body language, and most men don't even realize when they're doing it. This motion is known as the hand steeple, and it's one of the most subtle yet powerful ways to show confidence without using a single word. Why does it work so well? Because it takes up space without looking aggressive. Because it makes your hand movements intentional, not nervous. And because it forces you to slow down, grounding your energy in the moment. This isn't some random twitch or restless habit, it's calculated. Calmness. It's the kind of controlled body language you see from CEOs during million-dollar meetings and from charismatic men during intimate conversations. When you use the steeple gesture while speaking, especially when making a key point, something interesting happens. You seem more commanding, your words hit harder, and even more importantly, you create a visual sign of presence, something that women subconsciously associate with leadership. But that's not the only layer to it. There's a quiet subconscious link to prayer in that gesture. The steeple hints at depth, thought, and mystery. And mystery, Amelia, is one of the strongest sources of attraction. We're naturally drawn to men who seem reflective because, in evolutionary terms, men who could think deeply were better at solving problems, leading tribes, and staying calm in chaos. Just one small warning, though: avoid doing the reverse steeple, the one with fingers pointing down like a movie. Villain plotting something that comes off as arrogant and even a bit unsettling. Stick to the classic form: fingertips pressed together, elbows relaxed, words measured. It's elegant, it's masculine, and it quietly says, I know who I am and I have nothing to prove. There's also the shoulder shrug and smirk combo, one of the most playful forms of flirtation you can pull off. You want to know what really gets a woman's attention? It's not exaggerated charm, it's a mix of contradictions done right. Imagine giving a light one shoulder shrug, almost like you're saying, a maybe, and then pairing it with a tiny knowing smirk. That's it. Instant flirtation. It's like your body is saying, it's not a big deal, while your face adds, or maybe it is. That contrast drives women crazy because it creates what psychologists call flirt tension, the sweet spot between confidence and fun. The shrug says, I'm relaxed. I'm not trying too hard. The smirk says, but I know I'm interesting, and maybe you are too. Together, they create a dynamic that's nearly impossible to ignore. According to Dominic Mann, author of Flirt Like a Pro, gestures like this trigger a push-pull effect, making the interaction feel like a dance instead of an interview. That's the secret too many guys miss. They either overdo it or do nothing at all. But this combo lands right in the middle. Chill but alert, funny but self-assured, charming but never needy. Here's something to remember. A double shoulder shrug usually looks uncertain or dismissive, but a single smooth shoulder lift, paired with a small smirk, that's confidence wrapped in playfulness. And even if the woman doesn't react immediately, it stays in her mind because it made her feel something light, playful, and a bit flirty. That's what makes it unforgettable. Now, let's talk about one of the most magnetic gestures: the eyes and half smile connection. This is what I call a shared secret from across the room. Picture this: you lock eyes with her for just long enough that she knows it wasn't accidental. Then you add a quiet, subtle half smile. Not a big grin, not a smirk, just that small, knowing smile that feels private. It's like you both just exchanged a secret that no one else will ever understand. And that moment, it can freeze time. Facial expression experts describe this as a controlled emotional signal. It shows warmth without giving away everything. It's an invitation for curiosity. According to Dr. Helen Fisher, a leading neuroscientist in the study of human attraction, this kind of shared look and faint smile can release phenethylamine, a natural chemical linked to that fluttery feeling of falling in love. So, yes, one glance and a well timed smile can literally make her brain feel what love feels like. But the real trick is in the secrecy of it. That's what separates a charming look from a creepy stare. The eye contact says, I see you. The half smile adds, and no one else needs to know what I see. It's mysterious. It's personal. It tells a story without words. And that's when a woman starts to wonder, who is he? And why do I keep thinking about him? There's also something deeply powerful about how a man owns his space. Think about the kind of man who walks into a room and without a word, everyone slowly turns to look. It's not his outfit or his scent. It's the way he moves and holds himself. That's called the space claiming gesture, and it's the purest form of unspoken dominance. It looks effortless. A hand resting on the back of a chair, an arm stretched across the booth, or a calm, grounded stance that fills space without tension. These aren't random movements. They're instinctive, primal signals of comfort and control. Body language experts call them territorial gestures. They show confidence and ease because you're not trying to impress anyone. You're not begging for approval. You're simply existing in your element. And that right there is magnetic. Psychologists call it the high status perception bias. It's the instinct that tells our brain if he takes up space so naturally, he must be important. It's ancient, rooted in the days when dominance wasn't about cars or followers. It was about presence. Back when power meant being the one who could hold ground, sit by the fire, and command silence with just his energy. In today's world, that same instinct still applies. It's the difference between a man who asks for attention and a man who naturally draws it. A man who can lean his arm casually on the back of a chair and speak with calm confidence. That man feels dangerous in all the right ways because he's not trying to perform. He's not pretending to be strong. He just is. And here's one last, often overlooked truth. Stillness is power. Stillness is the quietest form of masculine strength. The less you fidget, the less you wave your hands around, the more people feel your presence expand. You want her to lean in to wonder, why does this man feel so different? That's when you've tapped into real presence. Own your space. Claim it without apology. Let your body speak the message, I belong here. Because once you truly believe that, she'll feel it too. The real lesson behind all of this is simple. None of these gestures are about pretending. They're not tricks or fake moves. They're natural signals of confidence, authenticity, and calm. They work because they communicate directly to the subconscious. They tell a story before your words even start. These are the small, quiet things that women notice, even when they don't realize they're noticing. So ask yourself, how many of these do you already use without thinking? And which ones could you start practicing more consciously to become even more aware of your presence? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read each one because your insight keeps these conversations alive. And if this video gave you a new perspective or sparked something in you, hit that like button, subscribe to Dark Psychology, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss what's next. Because in the next video, I'll reveal the 7 silent signals women use when they're secretly testing your confidence and how to handle each one with quiet power. Until then, stay aware, take your time, and own every moment you walk.